Hello, beautiful soul. I'm Vicki Howie of chakraboosters.com, the creator of Chakra Boosters Healing Tattoos. And today we are going to tap. Yay! It's something that's very needed right now. I'm seeing lots of anxiety and fear of the unknown. And while we may be trusting on a spiritual level in our upper chakras, and I see many people that are, we know this is for our evolution, it's still really frightening in the physical body. And that's why we are going to integrate your lower chakras and upper chakras today by doing some tapping around what's happening in the world right now. Now, I am going to do a bit of a preamble because I want you to understand a few chakra things, and I want to share my own personal situation. But if you don't have the time today to do that and you want to go right to the tapping, you feel free to do that. Just check out the timestamp below and go and do that. That's why I bring this stuff to you, so that you can create positive change in your life. But I also like you to know more about the chakras in that, so I'm going to talk just a bit first about what we're going to do here and why we're doing it. First of all, I want you to know that I had a big aha this week when I realized that I was abandoning my body. I was doing a bit of spiritual bypassing in my anxiety, and I was trusting the divine, but just moving out of my body in order to have that trust. I was bypassing the fears or whatever was going on in my body. And I'd like to say I recognized that on my own, but really it was an aha from one of you that did it for me. One of you wrote to me, it was a beautiful woman, and she said, "I love your videos, thank you for making them, and you're looking a little thin right now, and I'm starting to worry about you." And guys, you don't need to say it on this video because I am still a bit thin from the recent disembodiment, but it's well on the mend here. So I first just want to say thank you to the person that sent that to me. Thank you for caring and for waking me up, because when you said that, I was like, wow, I hadn't even realized that, yeah, I was not eating my normal amounts, not the normal, no, I was skipping meals, and even at meals, I wasn't eating the normal quantity. So I became aware, I tuned into it. Why is this happening? Why am I doing this? I certainly wasn't trying to lose any weight. And I realized it was because I was bypassing the body. I didn't want to hear my body's fears, or the collective, because I'm an empath and I pick up collective. And right now the energies are very similar to post 9/11 and even the anniversaries of the first couple of years after 9/11. So there's a lot of like collective energy that's really overwhelming, and I feel it. I feel it all. I have many empty centers and I'm an empath. So I was trying to get out of that and get out of my body rather than just soothe my body and really work with my body. And I was doing it by just being in meditative states, being in prayer, being in trust, which are all good things, but it can lift someone out of the body, and then you aren't really in integration with yourself. So here at chakraboosters.com, I'm all about full embodiment. So we're going to tap to bring your upper chakras, the more spiritual part, 5th, 6th, and 7th, throat, third eye, and crown, in deep integration with your lower chakras, root, sacral, and solar plexus, which of course does what? It creates balance and brings you right into your beautiful heart. Tapping is the best way I know how to do this, because when I work with a client and we're tapping, I can literally feel as an empath when we tap long enough that those two parts come together and the heart opens. I could just feel the heart open, and it's less like that, but it is a fairly sudden thing, but it's more like a warm, it just goes, it spreads out like if hot air could come out of a balloon, right? It would be like that. And I want you to know a couple things about your upper and lower chakras that I think are really important that people just completely forget, that make doing embodied work kind of challenging. If you think that your spirit and body are all on the same agenda, then you can be naive and just go la da 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 da, like I'm fine. If my spirit's fine, my body's fine. If my body's fine, my spirit's fine. But the truth is, your body and your spirit, or your upper chakras and your lower chakras, have two entirely different, actually oppositional objectives. I know. Let that sink in. Really let that sink in, because it's important. What do you think is the objective of your spiritual self, of your upper chakras? If you said anything like to have freedom or to be expanded, to grow spiritually, you are right on. I love the term to expand, because that's the most general and feels the most true to me without any debate, because the universe is expanding all the time. Even science tells us this, and you are a slice of that universal intelligence. So the part of you that is the least embodied, your upper chakras, that most relates to the spiritual realm, is always wanting to expand and grow to the next level. Makes sense, right? So because our spirit wants to do that, we tend to think that our body wants to do that. But hey, reality check. Reality check. Our body doesn't want to do that. The primary objective of your body is to keep things the same, to be in safety and habit and comfort, and to create homeostasis. You have a resting heartbeat, a certain temperature that you're almost always around, a blood pressure that changes over time but is generally in a certain realm if you're not doing anything too strenuous. So as you can see, and there are many other things too, your body aims for homeostasis. So you have your body down here in the earthly realm, the lower chakras, that just wants everything to stay hunky-dory and the same. And you have your spirit that's cheering for something to get mixed up, for something to change, for there to be a whole lot of expansion. And you can see where they would start to fight a little. Like, imagine like a parent and a teenager, right? They love each other. They're even in the same family. So this is the family of your energy field, and the love is the bridge, your heart chakra, between the upper and lower chakras. So the parent and the teenager love each other, but they're at odds when the teen gets to an age where the teen feels that she has to break away from her parents' way of telling her to do things so that she can be her own person and discover who she is as her own person. And the parent, let's make the parent the upper chakras, the parent feels that it knows, or they know, we'll say parents feel like they know what's best. I think I made a parent in it. I'm a parent, so I'm in it. The parents feel like they know best, and they're coming from love. So they're wanting to tell the child what to do from their perspective. And that's kind of what it's like when we bring in the spiritual perspective. Now, I'll give you, for instance, I did an April energy forecast, and all of it is true from the spiritual perspective. Those are spiritual things to aim for, and they're true, and I feel them. At the same time, it's like that's the parental part talking, and the body gets to have a completely different experience, because the body is feeling this physical, for me, this physical realm. The body is getting the physical information. It's in the physical body. The body is literally the one at risk, or I should say the lower chakras are in the body, and they are the ones at risk if there is to be a pandemic, right? And the body's the one that's staying in quarantine, or sleeping longer, or not being able to go to the store without completely, having to wear a mask and be uber careful. And so the body's living in the realm of where we have things going on right now. We have this pandemic. And the spirit really isn't. The spirit's the everlasting part. And the spirit, when the spirit tells the body what to do, the body's like, what do you know? Like the teen talking to the parent, what do you know? And the good news is that the tapping totally solves the discordance between these two. Why? Because the body understands, or your lower chakras understand, touch, the tapping of the meridians. And when we tap and do EFT, we are tapping on energy points. So we're actually igniting the spiritual energy. So we're using the parental wisdom. Again, I'm using this analogy, the parental wisdom. We're using the divine within us to actually calm the body in a way that the body understands, rather than try to talk like Charlie Brown's teacher at the body. Does that make sense? So this tapping is the body's language, and that's what we're going to do here. Now, a lot came through for me today, so I took some notes. So I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything before we move on to the tapping. If you haven't seen my other tapping videos, I want you to know, if you enjoy this, because it's really easy to do and very transformational, you can also look at my Tapping to Heal the Throat Chakra video, or my entire series of 7 videos where I tap you through the #1 shadow quality for each chakra, because shadow qualities tend to block a chakra. So as we tap through it, we release that block in that chakra and then open it up more on a quite physical level. But let's get back to right now when there is anxiety happening. Now you can see I've been practicing a little bit, just a bit. So you can see today I've already done some tapping. So I'm feeling more embodied and I'm feeling good. But that seemed like a better place to start from with you than a place of being disembodied. So if you're in that place of feeling anxious, it is so, so welcome. And we are going to transform that now through the tapping. And the way it's going to work is you are simply going to follow me, and you'll do what I'm doing with the tapping, and then you will say what I've said. You'll repeat it after me. Now realize that some of these things are going to really land. They're going to be as if they're coming from your own inner psyche, and others won't. But they're all going to be valuable, and it's never bad. Now this is the part I have to talk to, because we will need to say negative things. We're going to acknowledge the negative. And have you ever noticed, let's go back to the teen analogy again, how a parent will try to be usually somewhat positive to a teen, but the positive will say, well, you're always doing this, and there'll be this negative energy, because that's the voice that the teen feels isn't being heard, that negative voice. And in the body, that's the voice that's disrupting and causing the anxiety or the depression or both, or many other manifestations, maybe manifestations of illness. So that's what's causing these waves of like discordance in the body. So we want to bring those waves up. You feel that? We want to say the things that bring that discordance up. I'm making my fingers be the discordance in your body. And then we begin to tap, and the tapping goes directly into the spiritual energies, the meridians of the body, and begins to calm the physical body while we're saying the things that would normally trigger or alarm. And that means that they begin to be associated, these negative things become associated with calm rather than with discordance and anxiety or depression or whatever. Can you feel that? That's my little description. All you need to know is that tapping has been proven in so many studies to reduce anxiety, to relax the body, to calm down levels of stress of the chemicals that show up in the body. And I literally saw a site once that had like 200 different studies cited. I saw a website with that. So you can trust in what we're doing here. It's not too woo-woo, it's just right. So we're going to tap. I'm going to show you the points. I'm going to use all of the points. Now the first thing I want you to do is make sure you've washed your hands, because we have some face points. I've already washed my hands. If you haven't washed your hands or you can't wash your hands, then you can avoid the face points. It's still going to be fine. You'll get enough doing the other parts. You can just repeat something like a wrist point Okay, you can just repeat it more, or you can always just go back to this area, this fleshy part. I use it on both sides, both hands. I do, instead of doing this, I do both. It's just what I like to do. You can just do this. Literally, anytime I'm doing face points, if you're not doing them, you can just go back to what we call the karate chop points. Now, the way tapping works is that we set up a statement. We have a set up statement, and we'll do that 3 times like this, okay? And then after we do that, I'm going to go through the body points, and you just follow me, and I'm going to say the things that come up, and I'm going to tap into, hopefully, my stuff and also the collective, your stuff. I'm hopefully tapping into the tribe's stuff, and I'm going to try to get all of our ugh out, like all of the stuff that's coming up right now. Okay, and I'm going to tap through all of that, and then we'll take a few deep breaths, check into it, and we'll probably at least do a second round. And if you are still feeling high levels, you're going to keep doing it. Do a 3rd round without me, okay? Or a 4th round if you'd like. It just tends to get better and better, and you'll feel it in your heart when you cross the threshold. The heart chakra just opens. You will feel it. I think we all feel it differently, but I'm pretty sure you'll feel it. It's an equilibrium, a calm that starts to come. And one of the ways you can measure it is we like to measure with tapping from 0 to 10 how much the setup statement triggers you, like what it makes you feel. And our statement is, I feel anxious and unsafe in my body. Check into that. I feel anxious and unsafe in my body. What does that, how much does that bring up for you? I feel anxious and unsafe in my body when you say that. Give yourself a rating from 0 to 10, because that's how we can check to see how much it's shifted after we do some tapping. And we'll see, guys, how many times we want to do this. But just know you can always do it as many times as you like. Got your number? Okay, good. Here's our whole setup statement, and I'll be looking at my board here because it's pretty long this time. Our whole statement is, even though I feel anxious and unsafe in my body, I trust the divine and I choose to relax. Can you feel that? So we're acknowledging, it's like we're bringing the lower chakras are the first half of that, and the upper chakras are the second half of that, and we're bringing them together in the tapping. Okay, are you ready? Let's do this. So find the karate chop point along your hands, right here and here, the fleshy part, and just bring them together, or you can tap with your fingers on one of the sides. Whenever I do the tapping, I like to do it on one side, but you can do it on both if you'd like as we move down the body. But with this, I like to do both. So I'm going to start with 3 times saying the setup statement, and then I'm going to tap through the points. And then we're going to take some deep breaths. That's going to be really important at the end, to take those deep breaths to really integrate it. And then maybe we'll do a round or 2 more. Repeat after me. Even though I feel anxious and unsafe in my body, I trust the divine and I choose to relax. Even though I feel anxious and unsafe in my body, I trust the divine and I choose to relax. Even though I feel anxious and unsafe in my body, I trust the divine and I choose to relax. I feel anxious in my body. I feel anxious in my body. I feel anxiety in my body. I feel anxiety in my body. Maybe it's mine, or maybe it's the collective, but it feels icky. It makes me feel unsafe. It makes me feel like I can't breathe deeply. I don't like this anxiety in my body. I want it to go away. This anxiety doesn't feel good in my body. I want to feel safe in my body. I can't feel safe when my system is alarmed like this. I feel anxious and unsafe in my body. I don't even want to be in my body right now. I don't even feel safe to be on the planet. Everything's unknown and uncertain. And it's making me feel really unsafe. It feels like I want to get out of my body. I feel like I can't trust my own body. I feel anxiety in my body. Release. Take a deep breath all the way up to your crown. And then all the way back down. Relax and let it go. Again, from the earth, you're going to inhale up to your crown. And then just let it pour down. Exhale. And check in and just see if anything started to shift. Can you feel that? Just check in with, I feel anxious and unsafe in my body, and see if anything has shifted. I feel a slight shift, but the heart has not completely integrated and opened yet, for sure. So let's do it again. And now that the body's a little more open and has been heard, we're going to, as I tap through the points, we're going to bring more of the second half in, more of the relaxing and trusting the divine. We're going to do it again now, and this time I'm actually going to say the setup statement because it's so powerful. And now that the body's had some say, we can actually bring the two together. The setup statement has both the lower chakras, what we're worried or anxious about, and it has the upper chakra of I'm feeling good and trusting and I'm with the divine. So I'm going to do the setup statement all the way through. And I'll do half of it like I did before. I'll do a part of it for each point. Okay? So join me in this. Let's start out here. We'll still do 3 here just to get ready. In the fleshy karate chop points of the hands. Even though I feel anxious and unsafe in my body, I trust the divine and I choose to relax. Even though I feel anxious and unsafe in my body, I trust the divine and I choose to relax. Even though I feel unsafe and anxious in my body, I trust the divine and I choose to relax. And I choose to breathe more deeply. And I choose to stay in my beautiful body. I feel anxious. I feel unsafe in my body. And yet I trust the divine. And I choose to relax. I feel anxious and unsafe in my body. And yet I trust the divine. And I choose to relax. I feel anxious and unsafe in my body. And yet I trust the divine. And I choose to relax. I choose to breathe deeply. I choose to stay in my beautiful body. As anxiety comes up, I choose to breathe more deeply. When I feel unsafe in my body, I choose to stay with my beautiful body. When I feel anxious, I trust the divine. I can breathe more deeply. I can be in the present moment. I can stay in my beautiful body. Release your hands on your lap and take a big breath from the earth all the way up to your crown. Hold it for just a second and then just let it relax down like water on a waterfall coming over your body. Take another deep breath from the earth all the way up to your crown. And then allow it to be released and just bathe your body. Now check in again with the saying, I feel anxious and unsafe in my body. How does that feel? Can you feel that? Has it gone down? Sometimes you'll get a little bit of a spike in the beginning simply because we're bringing more awareness to it. By now, after the second round, I would expect some release. Have faith. Keep doing it. If it's working great for you and you're done, then you can do some more later. But use this video to keep coming back to it, because right now is an unknown time. And for the human psyche, the body especially, for the whole human psyche, The unknown is the scariest thing, the unknown. You think of a horror film, when we watch a horror film, we're not really scared of the monster. We're not really scared of the spirit, the evil spirits, whatever. We're scared of the unknown, the fact that we've come into a realm where anything can happen. So these are challenging, uncertain times, and they're inviting us to live more in the moment, which I talk about in my energy forecast. But if our spirit is living in the moment and it has to leave the body to do that living in the moment, we've abandoned part of ourselves. So let's work toward full embodiment by tapping, by speaking the language of the body. I'm going to make a vow right here to tap every day for the next 30 days, and I invite you to make the same vow as well. Thank you for going on this journey with me, and I will see you on the next video. Much love.